Yo guys, and welcome back to another Spore creation video. And for today's creation, we're going to be making the latest weekly request and a piece of fan art actually by one of you guys, Jowwizilla. So this is a really cool design made by Jowwizilla in my Discord community. He is a really huge Kaiju and Godzilla fan. He does some really amazing artworks in general. And he's been doing a couple of little Jowie fusions of Kaijus recently. He'd done the Jowwizilla quite a while ago, which I absolutely fell in love with, as did many of us. He recently just finished a Jowie Ghidorah as well. I've technically already made a Jowie Ghidorah, but maybe I could add that into a future poll. We'll see. Anyway, really awesome artwork in general and concept. I decided to just give it a go, you know, just see what you guys will think of it, and lo and behold, you voted for that one to be made, so here we are. Another Jowie hybrid, a really cool one, but this time designed by you, the community. So this one's been quite a lot of fun to do. I will have to admit, it took me a couple of tries just to get the base body in place, because as is a general thing with Godzilla, like, every iteration of Godzilla is a bit of a chunky boy. I think we can all agree on that. It's got a bit of a mass to him, which is perfectly fine. But in Spore, Spore's got that good old classic, really round, really bulbous feel, and it was a really hard time trying to make this creation look like nice and thick without making him look, you know, just silly. You get what I mean? So I took a couple of tries to make the body. In the end, I finally came to a version that I liked. That's where I finally was able to make some progress. I think it took about 3 tries in the end. When it came to the creation in general though, in my different iterations, I kind of decided to myself, I actually wanted to go with a bit of a vanilla vibe for this one. So I've been getting to the habit lately. Of course, I swear by mods. I love using mods for Spore. They allow for so much more creativity, so much more potential, and that kind of stuff. But recently, I've actually started to feeling like my creations have been looking very artificial. And of course, you know, as they should, I am using modded parts after all, but they've just been looking less and less like Spore. In fact, I think I probably went over this recently, come to think of it. Either way, so for this creation, especially as it's a Jowie hybrid after all, and therefore, you know, Jowie was originally a vanilla Spore creation, I thought it would make sense to kind of splice in a few core Spore parts into this one. And in the end, I do like how it came out. It came out with quite a nice variety of textures, and something that once again just didn't look artificial. It looked more like, it looked like a modded Spore creation, but that's the point. It looked like a Spore creation, which is the kind of thing I was going for here. I had a lot of fun working with the eyes on this one, because in Jowwizilla's drawing, he gave the Jowwizilla these really dark pockets of eyes, and for some reason, I don't know why, I find myself very drawn to that whenever I look at the drawing. Something about the eyes are just really catching, and I wanted to have that same thing going on in here. Also the ridges on the eyes, the ridges on the cheekbones, all this kind of stuff. I was able to reflect that into this creation as well. Just little features here and there that I thought looked really nice and really cool. And of course, the classic Jowie horns and frills. You can't possibly forget that, can we? Now for quite a while, the base of the body did feel a little bit plain, and I was a little bit unsure of what to do about that. Since, like I said earlier, I did go through different iterations of the body and I couldn't really decide on what I liked, because I was struggling to get like the right shape as it's reflected in Jowwizilla's drawing. I was kind of struggling to get the spine to curve the right way, while the belly comes out the right size without the creation looking too wide, which again is a big problem in Spore. Now, fortunately, like a nice little simple solution to that I keep on forgetting, is the simple addition of adding in like musculature here and there, but especially adding in like big defined areas such as the pecs. Like this guy's got some great big pecs. It's brilliant because it's that little bit of detail that really takes away from what is otherwise a very round and very plain body. It's a very small little feature that you can do in Spore creations, but it does make like a very large difference. Next up is all of the underbelly scales, which is just quite simply a different variation scales, which is quite nice to add in, very nice and simple. And all of the frill / spikes. I really like what Jowwizilla done with the, you know, the classic Godzilla spikes in general. It kind of made like a really cool hybrid, like a hybridized design between the classic Jowie frills and the classic Godzilla spikes into this really cool mixture. I don't really know how to describe it, it's just really cool to look at. Now that I couldn't really do in Spore, unfortunately, because while I could mimic it into a mega build, I just wouldn't have enough space or complexity to do it in a regular creation, so I had to kind of like get the next closest thing, and that was to simply use the regular sails, just much more exaggerated in different directions, all that kind of stuff, and I think it does it quite well. It doesn't quite do the original design justice, in my opinion, but I think for the overall Spore creation, I do think it's pretty decent. I think that it, you know, you can very clearly see it is a knockoff of the typical Godzilla spikes. It's got like the same kind of pattern, same height, same designs, all that kind of stuff. It's just like a different part entirely instead of spikes and frills. And again, I do like it. I do like how it came out. Also, one thing I had to kind of consider was to add in little bits of ridges around some parts of the body. I did want to add the large armoured ridges down the back and body as well, just like you see in the drawing. Unfortunately, I could not really do that because it occurred to me that that's going to really mess with the textures later on. And you guys know what Spore textures are like. They're such a pain in the butt. You just cannot win with textures when it comes to Spore. So I decided to skip all of the ridges and the armor pieces, unfortunately. I kept them on the thigh and arms, two areas that are typically less affected by textures, but I had to avoid it on the actual main body itself. But instead, I did add all the different little spikes, and I'm not sure what you'd call them, like little keratin bones? I don't know, like little similar things that I think it's like osteoderms, I can't remember the word, but they're little horns and spikes all around the body, little bits of armour, and I feel like that there was just enough to take away from the fact that the body nearly looked a bit empty. I think that was just enough extra detail required just to have the creation look not quite so plain around the body. As that is another thing I've become quite paranoid about recently, is when I focus so much detail on the face in particular, you're always going to like make the face look the prettiest as you can. Hands and feet can look interesting, tail in particular, and the spine, but then the rest of the body can tend to look quite naked. That is something I'm trying to rectify in my creations, and fortunately with Jowwizilla's design, I was able to do that just here. Now, before we get to the final creation, my friends, please don't forget to check out this week's weekly request poll, as you can see on the screen right now. In the upper right hand corner, it should appear with a poll. That way you can vote ahead on what you want to see next week. You have the choice, and as always, I get these creation ideas from you in the comments, in Discord, wherever. So if there's something that you want to see me making in Spore, please don't be afraid to comment down, and I'll check it out. Now then, here we are at last with the wondrous Jowwizilla. The textures, like I predicted, were a pain. They were an absolute pain. You can see how the cyan stripes do cover over into the beige tan underbelly, which isn't terrible, but at the same time it's not quite correct. But what can you do? What can you do? Overall though, I do really like it. I do really like how it came out. I'm actually quite pleased with this one. The cartoonish vibes in the drawing were like, there's a thing about cartoonish designs, and that is they're very characteristic, they're very original, and it's hard to capture that same charm into a creation. But I feel like we got pretty damn close with this one. As a creation in general, I really like it. As a recreation of Jowwizilla's drawing, I do quite like it. I'm actually very happy about this. I hope he is as well. And as always, guys, you were the ones who voted for this one to be made. I really hope that you like the overall creation as well. Let me know what you think. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time. And don't forget to keep those ideas coming. Cheers.